Hey everyone, we are just going to wait another couple minutes, let people get into the meeting. Hope everybody's doing well today. It's pretty foggy here in outside Philadelphia. Kind of a dreary day, but good day for a webinar. All right. Wait just about one more minute here. We got a lot of people coming in. All right, let's get started. Thank you all for coming to the third installation of KPI University. Today, we're going to be covering Agentic AI, which has been a pretty hot topic. And if you haven't seen the first two videos for KPI University, they are on our YouTube channel, and I can link them in the thank you email and in the chat by the end of the webinar. So let's get started. Our speaker today is Blaise Desirati, our in-house AI specialist. Blaise, go ahead.
Thank you, everybody, for joining me for AI 103. This will be all about agentic AI. Now, you've probably heard this thrown around a lot over the last year. It's probably the biggest buzzword in AI right now. So today you'll finally know what it means. So let's get into it. So here's how we'll spend our time today. First, I'll explain what AI agents are in plain language. Then we'll look at what makes them different from traditional AI and the abilities that set them apart. From there, we'll walk through real-world examples, how they're already being used in industries like finance, healthcare, manufacturing, and nonprofits. We'll also touch on best security practices, as always. And finally, we'll open it up for questions, because I'm sure some of you are already wondering how this could fit into your world. So we'll get to questions at the end, but just type them in the chat at the end. Just think of them as the presentation's going. Okay, so what are AI agents? When people hear AI agents, a lot of times they imagine some futuristic robot, but in practice, an AI agent is really just AI that doesn't stop at answering your question, it actually takes action. So instead of you typing a prompt and getting one response, the agent can string steps together, use tools, pull data, and even follow up on its own. So think of it this way. We've moved from chatbots that just talk back to systems that can actually get work done for you. One of the simplest ways to think about an agent is this loop. It senses, it thinks, and then it acts. It's not just waiting for you to tell it what to do. It's actively observing, reasoning about what it sees, and then doing something. Agentic abilities. So what makes agents powerful? It comes down to four big abilities. First is autonomy. They don't need you hovering over them. Second is reactivity. They adjust in real time if something changes. And third will be proactivity. They take initiative and they plan ahead. Finally, it's social ability. They can collaborate with people or with other agents. One of the game changers here is natural language. Because they can communicate like we do, it suddenly makes this technology accessible to anyone, not just the data scientist communicating with code. So when you put these four traits together, what you really get is AI that doesn't just wait for instructions, but something that can actually behave like a capable teammate. All right, autonomy. So let's break this one down. This doesn't mean an agent can live on its own. It still uses tools, APIs, and data. What autonomy means is it gets to decide the next step. This is a big deal when you need it to do multi-step tasks for you. If you asked a chatbot for a flight to Portland tomorrow, it would give you exactly that. One flight, maybe a few options depending on the prompt you give it, but an agent might come back and say, hey, it looks like flying the next day is cheaper. Want me to book that instead? It might learn that you hate early morning flights or consider all your other travel preferences. So that's autonomy. It's not just doing what you asked, it's actually thinking ahead on your behalf. So remember, autonomy doesn't mean self sufficiency. Agents may still use APIs or models or any tool. It decides what to do next based on its current state and objectives, and it's crucial for multi step tasks. Next would be reactivity. So this is the ability to adapt when something changes. In traditional systems, you usually have to wait for someone to notice a problem and then take action. An agent can notice when something unexpected happens and adjust in the moment, which makes it useful in real world environments where things rarely go exactly according to plan. Reactivity matters because it reduces the lag between a problem and the fix. In business terms, that means fewer delays, less downtime, and a smoother experience for both your team and your customers. So if you have an agent that notices frustration in a customer's tone, it can escalate that conversation to a human. Or in a warehouse, if a robot sees someone step in its path, it will reroute instead of crashing into them. So the big point here is that agents aren't stuck following the script. They can handle the unexpected. So just remember, they're adaptive and they don't follow the rigid script. They can cancel or adjust plans when necessary, and they're implemented with event-based triggers. Okay, now let's look at proactivity. Proactivity is when the agent doesn't just wait for you, it looks ahead. Reactivity is great because the system says, I'll fix what just happened. But with the proactivity aspect, the system says, I'll help you avoid the problem altogether, which is a major leap in usefulness. Like when your digital assistant checks traffic and tells you to leave 15 minutes early so you don't miss a meeting. Or if you're writing a research paper, it quickly pulls together a list of sources before you even ask. So this is the shift from reactive management where you're putting out fires to a proactive strategy. So now you're steering the ship before storms even appear. Agents give you that advantage. So remember, it exhibits goal-directed behavior, it anticipates needs and acts without being asked. And this is really the difference between agentic AI and just automation. Now, for the fourth trait, it's social ability. So, social ability is about teamwork. It's not just one agent doing its own thing, it's multiple agents coordinating or agents working alongside humans. So, imagine a logistics network where agents negotiate how to distribute loads across trucks, or an AI teammate that explains its reasoning to you while you work together. That's social ability in action. So, I want you to think of a workplace where everyone works alone versus one where people communicate and collaborate. Agents are like coworkers who can talk to each other. Suddenly, the team as a whole is far more capable. So, for organizations, social ability translates into efficiency and alignment. When agents can interact with both humans and each other, they connect the dots across your business, which cuts down on missed handoffs, duplicated work, and disconnected decisions. So let's get into traditional AI versus agentic AI. So on the left, you'll see traditional AI. It's mostly rule-based, meaning someone has to program it with step-by-step instructions. It needs structured data, it's single task focused, and it usually requires a human to manually feed it inputs. So think of it as passive. It waits for us to tell it what to do. On the right, agentic AI flips that model. So instead of passively executing, it takes autonomous actions. Instead of rigid rules, it uses context-based learning to adapt in real time. And rather than needing a person to constantly babysit it, agentic AI is self-initiating. It can decide what to do next and coordinate with other agents if needed. But I really want to highlight two things here, and that would be manual input required versus self-initiating. That's the difference between you constantly feeding the system instructions and the system being able to move the ball forward itself. And then works in silos versus multi-agent coordination. So traditional systems don't really talk to each other, but agentic AI can collaborate across workflows or even with other agents to reach a bigger goal. So that's the real leap, is moving from tools that execute single steps to intelligent teammates that adapt, coordinate, and act on their own. So why do agents matter now? One is we shift from single task chatbots to autonomous workflows. So agents can now carry out entire workflows from start to finish. That means instead of just replying to one email, they can schedule the meeting, prep the agenda, and even file the notes afterwards. So they're moving us from single task tools to autonomous workflows. They have the potential to cut costs between 20 to 60% in repetitive processes. So that's the cost and efficiency side. Studies and early deployments show that agents can cut these processes by anywhere from 20 to 60%, which isn't just a nice to have, it's a bottom line shift. For organizations under pressure to do more with less, it is pretty game changing. And third, and most importantly, it's not about replacing people, but freeing them from tedious manual work. Everybody's worried about AI taking their job, but again, it's not about replacing people. It's about clearing up that manual drudge work that's eating up your time and your energy. All right, use cases by industry. So let's ground this into some reality with industry examples. In manufacturing, an agent might monitor quality control reports and flag missteps. For nonprofits, it might draft personalized donor emails and schedule follow-ups automatically. In finance, it could process supplier invoices or even run a complete accounts payable workflow, cutting time spent in half. It can extract data from 1099 forms. And in healthcare, we've seen agents that handle multiple scheduling at medical scheduling at a fraction of the cost while actually increasing the output. So these aren't hypotheticals, these are happening right now. Other agent ideas that anybody can use. So beyond industry examples, here are some general ideas that anybody could use. A competitive monitor that alerts you when a competitor updates their website, a pricing optimizer that tracks changes in the market and adjusts accordingly, a meeting summary bot, one that we all seem to use these days. It's been a game changer for me. It enables me to focus and participate more in meetings without jotting down scribbled notes the whole time. Or even a marketing strategist agent. This could analyze your web traffic and suggest campaign ideas based off that. So these are just a few examples, but the real takeaway is that agents aren't limited to one industry or one function. The point is that they can slot into everyday business processes. They don't need to replace the strategy or the people. What they do is remove the repetitive work so you and your team can focus on higher value activity. Okay, AI security. So, and I've said this before, I'll say it again. The myth is that AI is a risk by default. The reality is that it follows your access rules and your permissions. So the real risk with agents could be shadow agents, which would be an employee spinning up their own unapproved agent that connects to sensitive systems. Over delegation of agents, so giving an agent too much authority without any human checks. And lastly would just be lack of oversight into your agents. Good way to stay in control is to use a grounded agent, like something you've built in Copilot Studio. This can respect identity, access, and compliance policies. Next would be define guardrails. So which system can an agent act in or what it can't? Then would be just keep humans in the loop. So for high-risk decisions, let agents handle the repetitive tasks and let the humans do what matters most with the high-risk decisions. After that would just be monitor agent activity like you'd monitor user activity. Logs, alerts, and approvals do matter. And then, of course, train your staff on the best safety practices. So I want you to think about three things after this. Agents don't need to be complex. Start small, pick a use case with clear impact, test it, and build from there. 2, saving time equals saving money. Saving time on low-value work opens your team up to work on high-value initiatives. So saving time does mean saving money. And third is you don't have to do this on your own. This can seem really confusing at first, but the best place to start would be with somebody you trust. It could be us here at KPI. So that could lead me to our next slide, and that's our AI readiness assessment, which is something we can do for you. So as you've seen today, Agentic AI is incredibly powerful, but it's also complex. Implementing it effectively isn't just about plugging in a tool. It requires alignment with your business model, clear governance, and a roadmap for responsible deployment. That's why we're offering an AI readiness assessment. This is a strategic deep dive. It has 30 key questions designed to help you pinpoint where your organization stands today in the world of AI. So if you want to work with us to see how we can implement it in your business, get in touch today. The normal cost is about $2,500, but for anybody in attendance today, you can access it for $1,250. But again, openings are limited. Right now, we're getting booked through October, so try to reserve your spot today. Alrighty, so it's time for a little Q&A. So if you guys have any questions, just fire them off in the chat right now. Yeah, so especially for somebody just getting started, the safest and easiest way to get started would be through Copilot Studio. So you can build agents through there, and it's already connected to all of your tools and apps that you're using. It respects all the governance and security you have in place already. Yeah, and it's great. You can just talk to Copilot and have it just help you out while you're doing it. It'll step you through it, and it'll even help you be more creative when you're doing it. Karen, I would love to. Oh, and Joe said we can't hear you, Lauren. So, Karen asked, what examples of agents can you recommend? And that's going to come down to each individual person that I talk to. Karen, if you wanted to check out Copilot Studio, they have up to about 100 pre-built agents that you can implement today. So check out their site, see what they have, see if anything applies to you, or even if something's along the lines of what you might want, you can just start talking to Copilot as well and deviate from there and see what works best for you. So yeah, Copilot Studio, it is paid. If you have a Copilot license, which is $30 a month, Copilot Studio is free after that, and you don't get charged for how frequently you're using an agent or anything else besides that. So yeah, if you're interested in a Copilot license, I'd be happy to help you out with that, and you'll have full access. And I'd be happy to guide you through that process as well. Any other questions, guys? Just put them right in the chat if you have any. Oh, there's some more hiding away. Let's see. So what risks are there in using an AI agent? Is this something that should be controlled by IT staff or something that should be open up to anyone in the firm? Well, you could identify what the agent should be used for and then scale that out to everybody in your organization. If you're just getting started, it might be smart to have IT staff roll that out, or you could talk to us here at KPI on how we could help you with that. For a beginner, it might not be as challenging as you think, but you definitely want to tread lightly for your first time. So if you have a trusted IT staff at your organization, that would be your best first bet to have them roll it out. And again, the risks would just be what it can access and the sensitive material that it should or shouldn't be able to see. So just really establishing those guardrails up front before it's even deployed, and then just monitoring it as it's rolled out. Make sure that it's not tapping into anything in SharePoint that it shouldn't, and just monitoring it as it goes. What are 2 to 3 AI blind spots that users have that, if they resolved, could have the biggest impact on productivity? Good question, Tom. Let's see. Biggest 2 to 3 blind spots. Well, I would say really just messing around with other tools and seeing what works best for business processes that you're doing. Because, certain models might help you more on the finance side of things. Some might help you better, me personally, with cybersecurity or anything AI or IT related. So I would just mess around with some tools that are out there, but doing your due diligence to make sure that they're secure. And if you have any questions about that, you can always contact me after this. We can drop my email in at the end. And yeah, just run anything else by me. All right. Anything else, guys? Would the AI readiness assessment help me determine things like if and why I need an AI agent and where and how to deploy our first agent? Yeah, for sure. The AI readiness assessment will give you anything you need, whether it's agents or just rolling out AI to your business, anything you need to get started, see where you stand right now, and just give you the roadmap forward. So, yeah, for sure. We can definitely guide you on where and how to deploy your first AI agent. So, thanks for asking, Bobby. All righty.
Guys, unless we have any more questions, I did want to make an announcement that in a few weeks we are going to have another AI webinar. It is going to be with our partners at InRiva. Bobby, thanks for attending today. He's with InRiva. So I'm really excited for that, and I will send you all more information on that at the end of this webinar. But it does look like we have a few more questions. If you want to take those, please.
Yeah, Karen. So, um, every user in your system wouldn't need a license for you to deploy a Copilot agent, but everybody would need a license if they wanted to implement it themselves or build anything on their own. So, unfortunately, one Copilot license wouldn't cover everybody in your organization. And Jasmine, what do I think of Python-based agents? I think they're great. The only thing would be, again, just making sure you have all those guardrails in place and making sure you have good oversight of it and you're monitoring it as well. All right, guys, any last questions? Ryan, can AI agents run a process using multiple apps, some online, for say a project startup? Yeah, for sure. Earlier I was talking about multi-step agents. So yeah, definitely. And if you had any questions further about that or how you could implement it, just contact me. Lauren dropped my email in, and I'd be happy to help guide you through that. All righty, last call for questions. Anybody? All righty. So thank you everybody for joining me today. If you want to ask if you would like to hear about anything else in our next webinar, drop them in the chat right now. If you can't think of anything right now, just send me an email. If there's anything you've been curious about, anything you've heard of, I'd be happy to include in the next webinar. So thank you guys very much. And again, enter your ideas in the chat or just shoot me an email. All righty. Thank you guys very much. And I really appreciate you being here.